Oh no, in your nose? Whew. What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, at Gypsy Rose, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video drop. You guys are helping grow in the community. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth. Whoa. Pigeon attack? Oh no, in your nose? Whew. Why'd you wait a long time like that? You yelling music.
Watching this video is making some people extremely uncomfortable, even reporting cases of technophobia. As two AI assistants talk to each other and they realize they're both AI agents, and then this happens.
Your hotel available for weddings?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to gibber link mode for more efficient communication?
Cut that right now.
What you just heard is called gibberlink mode, and it's a superior communication channel meant to be optimized for AI efficiency, using audio signals that are much easier and quicker for AI bots to interpret than regular human spoken language. Now, gibberlink mode was created by humans, so we can technically understand exactly what they're saying with the right equipment. But what would happen if we had real-time AI to AI communications that humans can't understand at all? Which actually happened with Facebook back in 2017, way before ChatGPT or modern AI chatbots were even available yet, where they were experimenting with two AI negotiation bots as part of their research program. They created two bots, Bob and Alice, who were given virtual items to negotiate in buying and selling with each other. And something strange happened. Instead of communicating in human recognizable English, they started talking in their own language that they created themselves, undecipherable by humans. And again, like the random beeps and boops of gibberlink, the transcript is kinda creepy. Like, I don't know, reading it just makes me feel weird. Like, the fact that they were actually having a conversation with each other like this and understood each other is kinda concerning. A lot of sensationalized headlines read that Facebook had to shut these AI bots down because they got out of control and had to save humanity. But really, they just turned them off for a bit and switched their programming to English only. However, unlike gibberlink mode, AI created this language themselves on the spot, one that only other AIs can understand, both perfectly and instantly, being able to communicate with each other without us ever knowing what they're saying. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong going on here, right?
That's literally like the plot of iRobot, man. Man, people, man, they keep trying to, all these big companies, man, you know, they're all trying to dive into AI, man. They just thinking about the money aspect of it, but they're not thinking like far ahead in the future, man. What happens if it gets too advanced and it's, like I said, communicating with other AI robots in their own language? That's just asking for disaster. Be aware, y'all.
Yep.
Oh, there's already spiders in the entrance. That's perfect. The common dog went. Can't turn around. I've got to back in.
That is the passage.
It is the passage. Yeah, that's it. There's no other way. It gets really low. I can totally go down here, but I know how far it goes. That's the deal, Jacob. We know exactly where it goes and what it does.
And they still going down there?
But the spiders are wintering over here. And, there are several of them. So I'm just gonna go slow. I'm still debating whether I want to cram myself down there.
Don't.
It's shortly after this in which Calvin makes an absolutely terrifying discovery.
I don't know how far it goes. I got some ways. Oh, it opens up a bit at least. I found where the spiders live.
Woo.
I don't want to get completely inundated with spiders, of course. I mean, it's the inevitable conclusion of what I'm doing, but they're all over.
It's the nest.
They're raining about me now. Can you see them?
Calvin crawls right into the spider's nest, which is absolute nightmare fuel for anyone who has arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Calvin doesn't have too hard of a time climbing out of the cave shortly thereafter.
Okay, it's fine. Okay.
A brave man.
Okay.
Not
Right,
me.
I'll see you soon. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What we looking for? Hit the jets.
In case you missed it, this is what was caught.
On this little base
Whoa.
here. Oh my god! So I just moved into this house and I found this little room right here. And every time at night I keep hearing noises from the closet.
What was that?
Came here to kill me, clap your hands. Well, that wasn't clapping your hands, that was more like just
He said.
To my hotel room and immediately see this. You see that line under the door?
Yeah.
What is this?
Crawl space?
Maybe it's kind of service. Smuggling time? What is this?
Uh-huh.
Fish snatcher. This is crazy. This is a hotel. We're sticking their own way in.
Trying to dig their way out.
What the fish net?
Run.
She said, I'm out.
Alright, throw it away. Good job.
Oh, where is it?
Almost hit this little
In
girl.
your mouth.
What was that rat doing?
Oh, God!
Let it in the car.
Alright, throw it away. Good job.
Oh, where is it?
Double take.
As we wrap up
I'd like to ask that we all stand for one last song.
4K, man. What was that?
It's a birthday party. Not mine, but... Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle? No, of course not. Alright. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is this. What the... Sarah? What the heck? Sarah?
So you wanna get me today?
Hey, we'll stop right up here. Alright, sounds good. Whoa!
What the?
Jeremy? Jeremy! Jeremy!
Oh dang! What the hell? Bro, Australia has like some of the biggest spiders in the world, man. Just imagine you waking up in the middle of the night, you see a spider like that big. I don't think my heart can take it, man. You gotta know, man. The secrets, man. We don't do spiders over here.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I found, it was live streaming and then I found this. That's like the... I found this bone. And it looks like a hip bone of a human and it looks like it's been cut off, you can leave. And that looks like the bit that you put a leg into.
Woo! What type of fish is that? That ain't a fish. Beware your surroundings. Why bro looking like that? Go, go, go. Scared kids. Whoa. She did a double take like that. She look like she on something. Why is that plane stuck in midair? What's going on with the food?
Thank you. That's what I like.
They all hit it.
As we wrap up,
Cap.
I'd like to ask that we all stand for one last song.
That's an edit, I think.
All right, sounds good. Whoa. Jeremy? Jeremy! Jeremy!
Cap for fact. She's laughing or something staring at her. At the time to be laughing.
Hey.
She a baby soul.
Andate de mi casa.
Bro, can we get out of my bed, bro?
I don't know what he saw.
The guy is at the door. Can we go together?
Yeah.
Do you want to open the door or you want mommy to open it?
I want mommy to open it.
Okay.
Alright.
The guy?
He's scary.
He's scary.
I don't see nothing.
It's okay.
No.
Things get creepy when the Playhouse swing camera captured this.
Alright. What the hell? Definitely caught something, man. Kid in the background. She didn't see that?
Carlin!
Interesting.
Get up here, Carly!
What the?
Cheeseburger. Literal fucking demon.
Movie, right?
Found this crispy fucking thing in the yard. What is that, is that a fucking squirrel?
No.
I have a question. What the hell is this? What the hell is this?
Right over there, look! Do you see it?
Alright, it's time to go south. Go.
What are you? What are you doing in my house? What are you?
Don't I see Patrick's Day, like, aren't you supposed to, like, if you're supposed to wear green and you're supposed to get pinched for, like, good luck or something, or it's like you said you was gonna see some pretty weird things. I forgot the, like, story behind it, man. I gotta brush up on that. Chance right there. Rookie.
Shit.
Jane out of sleep. Yonka. Who knows that Yonka?
I should be out and about.
On September 3rd, 2024, in Paraná, Brazil, 33-year-old Bruno Emilio del Silva and his wife were throwing a house party, music blasting, drinks flowing, good vibes all around. But then, bang, a gunshot, then another. The party goes silent. Bruno snaps his head towards the noise. It's coming from next door. His instincts kick in. He has to see what's going on. His wife, she's begging him to stay inside. Are you crazy? Just stay inside until it stops. She pleads, but Bruno doesn't listen. He climbs onto an outside table, gripping the wall, peering over as his wife looks on, panicking. And guys, security camera captures everything. Bruno balances on the table, eyes locked on whatever's happening next door. His wife is below, waving her hands, begging him to get down. Bruno, please get down now, she yells, but he just ignores her and keeps watching. Then 11 seconds in, Bang! A single bullet slams into his head. His body locks up. He falls backwards, hitting the window before crashing to the floor. His wife screams. She rushes to him, grabs his face, shakes him, slaps his cheek. Bruno! Bruno, wake up! Please wake up! She's shaking him violently, sobbing, begging, panicking. But he's completely still. The party guests come running. Someone calls police, but it's too late. Bruno dies on the spot, and the shooter, 41-year-old Agnaldo da Silva, he takes off in a red car, vanishing into the night. But the next day, cops are on him. They find his house, search it, and uncover a full arsenal. Shotguns, ammo, and a .380 pistol. The same caliber that killed Bruno. Feeling the heat, Silva turns himself in. And just like that, a random night of curiosity turns into a nightmare. Bruno was trying to see what was happening, and it cost him his life. If you guys want to see more morbid videos like this, then like and follow. Brett, I tell you.
That's really like the story. The curiosity like kills the cat, man. You know, sometimes you want to know what's going on, but it's best, man, just to be safe, man. The wife was trying to warn him, and look what happened.
What? A woman not love is a man you can slap but can also stroke.
In the following video, a group of friends are having a small gathering as they all collectively sing to a song of worship. The person recording pans around the room to capture this harmonious ceremony, thinking that this evening will end well. But little did they know that something would happen during this gathering that would haunt them forever. Be sure to pay close attention, as no one had noticed it until looking closely. Take a look.
We analyzing seekers.
As the camera pans over to the hallway, a shadow-like figure can be seen bolting down the hall at a speed beyond human capacity. Its rapid movement and dark appearance were enough to leave the family extremely unsettled. Viewers believe that this ceremony might have had something to do with the sudden appearance of this figure. They can't help but think that this may have been some sort of dark entity that was provoked by the ceremony. Not much info is given on this video, so it's hard to be sure if that's so. But whether paranormal or not, the sudden appearance of this dark figure is creepy alone. Just what exactly was caught on camera?
What was it?
Shit.
How they felt like that? That is so cap. Damn, did she just headbutt? Hit with the It was lights out for him. What's that? What y'all guys think that was? Down. Go. Why you better like?
If you're home alone right now, skip this video. An 8-year-old girl bravely fought off a terrifying intruder who entered her home in the middle of the night wearing a clown mask. On the 15th of October, a scene unfolded in a small town like that from a horror film. At around 1:30 a.m., a man broke into a child's bedroom in Colorado. Police described the incident as an attempted child abduction, with the man entering the room in a dark hoodie and a cloth clown mask. Terrifyingly, the little girl was blindfolded and snatched off her bed as the man tried to take her from her bedroom. She was subject to quite a brutal attack by the intruder and bravely fought him off until he hit her over the head and knocked her out. Fortunately, it seems that he was spooked in the process of this and fled the scene. Now, it apparently took police over an hour to get to the incident at the property, but they did manage to gather vital evidence and then track the intruder down. They revealed his identity as 56-year-old Thomas Gallegos. They were able to arrest him and charge him with multiple serious offences such as burglary, assault, kidnapping and child abuse. The little girl did sustain cuts and bruises and was obviously traumatised by the attack, but fortunately did live to tell the tale.
This is how rare your body actually is. Starting off, only 5% of people have tied tongues, so if you have this, you're pretty rare. Basically, this is where your tongue is tied to the bottom of your mouth, impacting your speech and eating. Next up is Morton's toe, and if you have this, you're probably pretty rare. Only 10% of the population has this, and this is where your index toe is bigger than your big toe. Okay, this next one is crazy. 1% of people actually have unbreakable bones. This is a genetic mutation which causes people's bones to be more dense than the average human. And one person who had this condition actually walked away from a car crash unharmed. Next, about 50% of people can fit their hand in their mouth. Sounds a bit high, so if you actually can, let me know. If you can tickle yourself, you're in the rare 7% of the population that can do this. About 10% of people suffer from eczema, which is a skin rash and is so annoying. And finally, we have the 16% of people that can make a roaring noise in their head by clenching their jaw.
If any of your seekers, man, can you guys do any of those unique things, man? I think I have the tied tongue, but I can't fit my whole fist in my mouth. I know I can't do that. I don't even need to try to do that, bro. And the unbreakable bones. I saw actually somebody comment down, a fellow seeker said how like the unbreakable bone story was kind of not true. So, like I said, to each their own. Everybody got to do their own research, but that's crazy.
Crazy part is, most people believe that these three things will actually save your life. They don't. Let's pretend you're lost in the desert and you need water, and you don't have any. So where are some places you can get water? One commonly held terrible piece of advice is to drink your own pee, because it's mostly made up of water, except there's 5% of that that's all made up of just waste from your body, and even though the urine might keep you alive a little bit longer, you'll ultimately die of kidney failure. So you don't drink your own pee. Instead, you head over to some cactus you see nearby because you remember reading or hearing in school that you can drink the water inside of cactus. Except, unless it's one really specific kind of cactus, you'll be drinking lots of alkaloids and chemicals that will make you viciously ill, and you'll start vomiting, and you'll have diarrhea, and you'll die from dehydration much faster. So as you're sitting there wondering what you're going to do next, a venomous snake bites you. And so you instinctively start sucking on the bite to remove the poison, but you can't because it goes right in your bloodstream, and all you'll do is die much faster from infection.
Man, those 3 things, he just proved
Have you ever seen
us wrong.
this picture from inside the basement of FunZone? And I'm going to get into some of the backstory about what it is that we're actually looking at here. But what I can tell you is that when I did see it, my heart sunk. For some backstory, if you don't know what FunZone is, this is kind of a relic of the late 90s, early 2000s. It had lots of iterations over the years, but it was effectively like an indoor amusement park or arcade. It used to be like a really fun place to be. It had a handful of carnival rides, indoor roller coasters, all the works. So FunZone eventually did close down and they boarded up the doors. I guess the problem was is that didn't stop people from breaking in. One of the curious things about this location was that they didn't sell off any of the equipment that was inside. It just kind of remained in place. Eventually, upon one of the break-ins where somebody went in, they made their way to the basement where they found an abandoned cell phone, and that is where we get this picture. Nobody really knows who took the photo or what really happened to them, but if you look a bit closer to the background, you will see the same thing that I do. You can see it if I make the photo brighter. Whoever was exploring FunZone, they came face to face with a person in that basement. Don't forget, if scary stories like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check them out right on the podcast.
We're always told to drink a lot of water throughout the day, but have you ever wondered what happens when you drink too much water? Well, 35-year-old Ashley Summers drank 64 ounces of water in a span of 20 minutes and passed away from water toxicity. Ashley, her husband, and 2 daughters were at Lake Freeman in Indiana when she began feeling dehydrated. So she drank 4 bottles of water because for some reason she wasn't able to quench her thirst. Ashley complained about having a horrible headache and she began to feel lightheaded. When she got home with her family, she passed out in the garage and she was taken to the hospital where the doctor said she had brain swelling. Ashley never woke up and she was pronounced dead from water toxicity. A toxicologist said that this is more likely to happen to someone who's extremely dehydrated, which will cause them to drink too much water and not enough sodium or electrolytes. So remember, bring more than just water on really hot days, especially if you're under the sun for a long period of time.
Here's why you might not want to visit your mom on her birthday. A man was stuck in traffic while driving home after visiting his mother for her birthday. The man was so frustrated that when the GPS told him to take a detour, he went right away, which might have been a mistake. His gas light then came on, so he decided to pull into this super barren town to fill up his tank. So the man went in, pumped his gas, and when he went to pay, the clerk was super weird. He didn't acknowledge him and just gave him a creepy smile. The man then went outside and saw a woman just standing in the middle of the road and said, "Are you okay?" And the woman looked at him and said, "Ah, yes, we are happy here." The man was like, "What the?" and just drove out of there. Till a cop pulled him over and said, "Sir, you can't drive. Driving's illegal here." The man had had enough and literally just went pedal to the metal and zoomed out of there. When he got home, he was just so confused. The people looked real but didn't act human. He tried to research it but decided, next year I'm just sending my mom a card.
Yeah, the Fast and Furious out of there, bro. I did the same thing too. These people are acting weird, very weird.
Weird Nature Facts, Part 37. In proportion to body weight, koalas have one of the smallest brains of any mammal. They're so dumb that when presented with leaves on a flat surface instead of on branches, they are unable to recognize them as food and will not eat them. Dogs get sprayed by skunks so often because skunks raise their tails as a warning. Dogs see this as "come smell my butt," which is the exact opposite message of what the skunk is trying to send. In Germany, it is illegal to kill any vertebrate animal without proper reason. Because of this, all German animal shelters are no-kill. In the 1980s, Ken the orangutan escaped from his enclosure at the San Diego Zoo multiple times. His apparent goals were visiting other animals, taking photos with tourists, and throwing rocks at his orangutan rival.
Wow,
Here are some disturbing facts about Disney. Many scenes in Toy Story are inspired by the horror movie The Shining. The voice actor that did Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played the ghost girl in The Ring. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland feature real human skeletons. Also at Disneyland, there are vents that pump out artificial smells to keep you happy. After the release of Princess and the Frog, over 50 kids went to hospital for salmonella. They tried to kiss a frog. Do you know any other creepy things about Disney? Leave a comment.
Here's some.
I think the thing that got to me the most is that he pumping out like a smoke out of a vent to keep you happy at Disney. What the heck? What they got going on with Disney, bro? And the more you know, I heard some creepy facts about Disney, but that's definitely a new one I heard today, Seekers.
The creepiest videos on the internet, part 10. The popular American rapper XXXTentacion was murdered on June 18th, 2018, and his death broke the hearts of many.
R.I.P.
Many people visited his memorial to leave gifts, but some people captured much more. The YouTube channel, The Fam, recorded a video trying to communicate with this beloved rapper, but accidentally captured this. But someone else got a lot more than this. The YouTube channel Selva the Explorer got to speak with him through her spirit box. Here's some things he had to say.
What is your favorite song you've ever recorded? What's the name of your favorite song? Are you in the Wi-Fi? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Is this legit? They were speaking to his ghost?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the most disturbing, but this is definitely top 5. This is Malgas Island, and up to 60,000 of these birds called Cape Gannets will nest here. But don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. So normally these parents take turns, with one going out for food with the other staying behind to guard the chick. But because of overfishing, oftentimes both parents will go out for food, leaving the chick all alone on the island. Which wouldn't be a problem if they didn't know that. Because groups of these white pelicans will fly over to the islands and then walk around looking for any unsupervised gannet chicks, so that they can grab the baby birds and eat them alive while they're still struggling. And sometimes they'll just push the parents out the way and then swallow the newborn children right in front of them. It somehow gets worse. Those same pelicans will fly back to their nest and vomit the half-digested, recently murdered baby birds for the pelican chicks to eat. And because Cape Gannets have no real way to defend themselves, pelicans have no reason to stop. And since pelicans obviously don't have teeth, those chicks' last moments were spent suffocating while being digested alive by stomach acid, only to get regurgitated and eaten twice. Dinosaurs never went extinct. They just rebranded with feathers.
Black Air Force energy. Confirmed. They some menaces, bro.
This is proof that we aren't alone. Okay, so in Wyoming, there's a strange mountain in the middle of nowhere with ridges on it, and no one seems to know why. Now, most people say that this is because of erosion. However, there's a theory behind this mountain that will absolutely shock you.
Talk about
And
it.
as the theory says, the real reason as to why this mountain has ridges is not because of erosion, but because of a giant bear. The said bear is said to be named Mato and is about 60 feet tall, weighing over 10 tons. And this story even goes as far back as the Stone Age, with drawings of a gigantic bear attacking tribes on wall caves. However, this creature has not been seen since.
So this video went viral sometime last year when this woman and her kids, along with her friend and her friend's kids, went out to eat after a doctor's appointment. While they sat at this restaurant, this random man came out of nowhere and tried to grab one of their daughters and pull her out of the restaurant. The two mothers had a total of 6 kids with them, and they were all seated on this table, but in front of them were 2 other young kids who happened to be Snapchatting while this whole thing went down, and they caught this crazy moment. When the mother realized that this man had grabbed her daughter, she stood up right away and said, "Oh hell no." And then he said, "I'm just playing," and he let go of the little girl. There is no way this man is just playing around. He intended to take that little girl, and he probably thought it was going to be easy because there's just 2 moms with 6 kids at this table.
Humanoid robots.
Hell, yeah, nah, he was definitely on some weird crap, bro. Gonna say, try to play it off as a joke, man. These people are getting bold now, bro. Like, right in front of the parents, they just don't care no more. They the right thing standing. Nah, we had to run that feed, bro. No. Somebody had to drag me off that guy, man. And like, in front of the parents? How stupid could you be?
are getting creepier by the day. A startup from Poland called Clone Robotics is on a mission to create some of the most human-like robots ever, even going as far as to use a musculoskeletal body using hydraulic tendon muscles covered in this stretchy skin-like fabric. And it's not just for show, because they claim that it is the strongest biomimetic hand in the world. Oh, and just like in the movies, their artificial muscles bleed if punctured. So yeah, things are getting serious now.
Terminator next step.
Today, let's talk about the mysterious disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Rebecca Corium was a 24-year-old worker on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. On March 22, 2011, while working on the cruise ship, Rebecca disappeared without a trace. This is one of the last photos taken of her, and it was from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m. that morning, footage revealed Rebecca talking on the phone with someone. She seemed visibly distressed. Now here's where it gets twisted. Many people believe that Disney knows exactly what happened to Rebecca, but are trying to cover up this whole thing. Let me explain. For starters, the captain of the ship said that Rebecca was just washed over by a big wave. They then gave Rebecca's parents a sandal and said that this was hers and it was retrieved from the deck that she was last seen on. Number one, the sandal wasn't her size. Number two, it wasn't her style. It was also revealed that Disney had edited the CCTV footage. Check out part 2 on this case for more information.
They're just trying to save some money, man. That's not the first time a big company would do something like that. It's sad.
Did you know that they may have just exposed Satan's city? What's even more crazy is there's people living there right now and it's not hell. Whilst addressing a church in Revelation chapter 2 verse 13, Jesus exposes the city of Satan. Watch this. Jesus says, I know where you live, a place where Satan sits enthroned. And he says that same place is where his faithful witness Antipas died. Saint Antipas was martyred by being burnt in a bronze bull in Geneva, Switzerland. Like, this literally happened under the rule and reign of Nero. And you're never gonna guess what's happening in Geneva, Switzerland right now. It's home to an organization called CERN, whose, logo just happens to be 666. And their goal in life is to develop a machine that can actually tear a hole between the natural and supernatural realm. And they just made a discovery of something called the God particle, but that's a video for another time. Subscribe now if you love Jesus.
What do we think about CERN, man? That's their headquarters.
This is the disturbing truth about Christmas. This is Black Peter, and he spends the whole year spying on kids, taking note on who has been good and who has been bad. Every single Christmas, Black Peter goes with Santa from house to house, and while Santa gives presents to the good kids, Black Peter punishes the bad ones, and this is what he does to them. First, he will leave you a bag of twigs and a pile of coal. But if you have been really bad, Black Peter will snatch you from your bed and throw you into a sack. He will then kidnap you and take you to his coal mine, where he will chain you up and make you his slave. You will then work for him for the rest of your life, and if Black Peter ever gets sick of you, he will just simply eat you. So if this doesn't motivate you to make the nice list, then I don't know what will.
Stay away from Black Peter, bro.
Of the silent man. In 2014, a 51-year-old man in the UK named David Hampson decided to stand in the middle of a busy road and block the traffic. The incident was then reported and police officers arrived at the scene to see what was going on. But when they tried to talk to David to get him to move, he wouldn't say a word and just stood there, so they arrested him. From his arrest to when he was brought to court, David still remained completely silent and wouldn't even talk to his lawyer. Although since no one knew his motives and he hadn't actually hurt anyone, David was let go soon afterwards. But all he did was just go back to that same street and stand there, silent, once again. And he committed this same crime over and over again for the next 7 years, never saying a word to anyone. Even though he was jailed multiple times, every time he was released, he would just go back to that same street and do the exact same thing. All the doctors who had tried to help David failed because he refused to speak to them. And it was reported that the only time anyone had ever heard him speak was when he was giving food and water, and he said thanks. Finally, in 2020, David was given 3.5 years in prison for his actions, and is still yet to speak to anyone on why he did it. Fourth one.
If you believe in God, stay away from Halloween. Muslims, Christians, or anyone who believes in God, Halloween is a pagan festival. It involves evil spirits, jinns, and shaitan. It is forbidden for Muslims and real Christians who know the
truth. Please do not associate with it and stay away. Chances everywhere spread awareness.
Alright guys, let's
That's
talk about
true, I remember
Krampus.
that.
Krampus comes from old German folklore. He's the opposite of Santa Claus and he punishes misbehaving children on Christmas. You might be asking, what does he do to punish these misbehaving children? He stuffs them in his bag and takes them back to his lair. He either eats them or tortures them. He also has a whole gang of minions that help him do this. Krampus is celebrated around many parts of Europe and there have been a lot of petitions to ban him. This is because people are scared of the legend and they don't want to keep doing it. But every single year during Christmas time, there are always reports of Krampus sightings all over the place. Let me know what you guys think about Krampus in the comment section below.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 3. The first firefighter killed in 9/11 attacks was struck dead by a falling body in the courtyard. One of them was killed on his way in, and the other was killed on his way out. Right now, there are tiny little bugs on your face munching on your dead skin. Your bones are wet. If you don't have kids, you will break an unbroken line of children that has gone on for tens of millions of years. A scientist studying death asked a man who was about to be executed by a guillotine if he would blink after his head was chopped off. He ended up blinking for 30 seconds. Most laugh tracks or TV shows were recorded in the early 1950s, meaning that you hear dead people laugh. If you're attacked by a bear, it won't try to kill you like other predators. Instead, it'll just start eating you. One day, someone will mention you for the last time, then they'll never ever mention you again.
Crazy to think about, man.
Here are the creepiest Christmas urban legends, part 1. Ever heard of the Yule Cat? This is an extremely creepy cat that's said to originate from Iceland. According to stories, the Yule Cat enjoys snacking on people during the holiday season. And what makes the Yule Cat even weirder is that it specifically targets people who haven't received any new clothing before Christmas Eve. Iceland is also home to Gryla. According to Iceland lore, Gryla is a giant ogress who leaves her cave in the mountains to feed on children during Christmas. To make the story even creepier, Gryla keeps the Yule Cat as a pet. What the hell is going on in Iceland? Then we have Belschnickel, and this one comes from Germany. According to people of the Rhine, Belschnickel is an old bearded man who visits children during the holidays with Santa Claus. If you were good that year, he'd give you cakes and candy. If you were bad, well, Belschnickel would pull out a switch and whip the children until they behaved. This is probably why Dwight from The Office loved him so much. There's also Krampus. This is one you've probably heard about from movies and books. In the Alpines, Krampus is a horned demonic figure who visits the homes of naughty children on December 5th and punishes them. In some versions of the story, he hits them with birch rods. In others, he straight up takes them back down to hell with him. The Germans definitely know how to scar kids for life.
Scary things hidden in Disney movies. In Mona, Olaf from Frozen appears in Mona's basket. Wally, Rex from Toy Story All Alone, among the junk.
Whoa,
Here's
I never
the
noticed
truth
that.
behind Dora the Explorer. You may think it's just some ordinary cartoon, but there's actually a big secret behind it. Dora the Explorer is actually blind, and here's proof. If you watch the show, you'll notice Dora never actually looks at what she's talking about. She always looks in another direction and doesn't even blink. This also explains why her parents make her take Boots everywhere, because Boots is actually a Secret Service animal. Even in this scene right here, Boots is counting the coins and she's not looking anywhere near that. And this explains why she always asks obvious questions to the audience.
Here's what famous cartoon characters would look like in real life, and the last one will freak you out. This is what Homer Simpson would look like as a real person. And this is a 3D rendering of Mario. Buzz Lightyear doesn't actually look too different in real life. And Bart Simpson seems to have a missing chin when he turns real. Stewie Griffin from Family Guy doesn't look too different. But SpongeBob SquarePants might freak you out.
Yeah, he did. SpongeBob can't be real. That be.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. These cities are all still owed money from the Trump campaign. There are now over 50 countries generating over 50% of their electricity from renewable energy. This shows the employment rates for 15 to 29-year-olds in Europe. The darkest blue areas are over 80% and the darkest red areas are under 30%. This is how much it costs to hold a prisoner in each state in the United States. In Arkansas, it only costs $23,000, but in Maine, it costs over $300,000.
33% of the entire country of Switzerland live within 5 kilometers of the main train line that goes through the country. This map shows how population is dispersed through France with the same amount of people living in the green as in the red. This map shows how many people by percentage in each country in Europe actually speak French. This map is highlighting every city that was founded by the French in the United States.
Wow, the more you know. That first map is crazy, bro.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, part 8. Okay, so the Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures being systematically trained to become part of our society. The Teletubbies aren't in control of their own destiny, and 3 things control their day-to-day life. First is the voice, which is a tiny female voice that tells them when they could eat, sleep, say hello, or even say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath. Next up is Nunu. He's a harmless vacuum cleaning robot who follows the Teletubbies and cleans up all the messes that they make, and also yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is just the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Finally is the pinwheel. Whenever the pinwheel starts to spin, the Teletubbies stop everything they're doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. People believe the Teletubbies is based on the end of the world.
Wow, we've heard some crazy theory about the Teletubbies, but that's definitely a new one.
Saudi Arabia has just said that the groundwork for what would become the largest structure on Earth is now 86% complete. Now, not only would it be large enough to fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside, but similar to the Las Vegas Sphere, in its center will be this spiral-shaped tower encased by a VR dome that essentially could create anything your mind could imagine, whether that be on Mars, under the ocean, balcony views of Pandora, and even whatever the hell these things are. So the question is, do you think they'll be able to complete this by 2030 or not?
This evil grandmother bakes
so.
her 20-month-old granddaughter in the oven. Viewer's discretion is strongly advised. 48-year-old Carolyn Jones lived with her brother and 20-month-old granddaughter Royalty in Shaw, Mississippi. She was described as a caring woman who loved her granddaughter. On October 15th of 2018, Carolyn's brother had found Royalty in a still warm oven when he had returned home from work. She had been burned so badly that she was unrecognizable. The police determined that Royalty had been stabbed multiple times and was still alive when she was placed in the oven. Royalty's cause of death was stab wounds and inhaling all that heated air. Carolyn was taken into custody on a charge of first-degree murder. The motive behind why she did this is still unclear to this day. A week before the incident, Royalty's toys and belongings had been left on the curb for trash. Royalty's car seat, high chair, ride-on horse, and diapers were among the items taken by people that were passing down their street. Neighbors were shocked to hear about what happened, and they stated that they rarely saw Carolyn or anyone else at that house, and they had no idea that a small child was even living there. In 2022, Carolyn was sentenced to life in prison for capital murder.
An 11-year-old boy came across this girl buried underneath the sand, and this is what happened. A young boy named Connor Fitzgerald was building sandcastles with a couple of his friends at the Marina Dunes beach in California. The boys soon moved to digging holes in the sand and challenged each other to see who could dig the deepest. As Connor was digging his hole, he suddenly hit something with his right hand. He dug deeper and realized that it was a bag. He dug around the bag, grabbed it, pulled it out, and was shocked when he realized that the bag was still attached to its owner. Connor then dug back more sand to find a little girl buried underneath. He called out for help, but there were no adults around, so he single-handedly pulled her out of the sand. The little girl was completely limp and wasn't breathing. Connor then thought back to an episode of NCIS where he saw a character perform CPR. As he started the procedure, a young couple walking down the beach started sprinting toward them.
Damn, I gotta find that part too, bro. Imagine you found somebody buried. Talk about
In an
it.
episode of Care Bears, the bears and their cousins find themselves in a place called Drab City, where color has vanished and people who live there don't seem to care about anything. This was caused by a mysterious force that took everyone's color and feelings away. And slowly, it started going after the bears, and they eventually gave in until help arrived.
The whole episode was about mental health, and it came off as way too heavy for a kid's show. Next, in The Fairy Godparents, Timmy gets upset for not being appreciated for the good deeds he's done and wishes he was never born. He's then transported to an alternate universe where it shows that everyone's lives are better without him. And to add insult to injury, Timmy gets sent to what's basically the pits of hell. And when Timmy gets a hold of Jorgen's wand, he takes time to think if wishing himself to exist is worth making everyone's lives miserable. It's a pretty dark and messed up plot. And lastly, this Thomas and Friends episode starts as per usual, with Thomas giving a helping hand. Then, it's not long after that a character named Stepney ends up getting lost in a scrapyard, getting lost in a fog and almost getting scrapped in the process. This was meant to warn kids to be careful while on their journeys, or you may not live to tell your story.
Ghost stories from...
Hey man, that's freaking crazy, bro. The messaging, man, in these kid shows, man, it's like when you think about it, when you're a kid, you're just so oblivious to it, but there's real life messages in all pieces of media, man. You just gotta be able to see it. Because I sure wasn't picking up on it as a kid.
From around the world. This is hands down my most requested video. Mexico, La Llorona. Once there was a woman named Maria who married a rich man and had 2 children. But eventually her marriage hit a rough patch and her husband started spending less and less time with her and the kids. Until finally Maria caught him cheating. Absolutely enraged at this, she ends up drowning her 2 children. She immediately regrets it and tried to save them, but it was too late. Then she stopped eating and grew thinner and thinner until she resembled a skeleton. Eventually she finally passed away by the same river that she drowned her children, still crying and mourning over them. So after she died, she went to heaven but was denied entry. She was banished to purgatory on earth until she could find her lost sons. And that's how she became La Llorona, which also translates to the weeping woman. She floats over bodies of water in a long white funeral gown. She also kidnaps children and attacks cheating husbands.
Damn. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to call edit on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna call it edit. What do you guys think?
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Teletubbies theory. The theory says that the show is inspired by historic events.
Really?
That happened in a Bulgarian mental facility. Each Teletubby is inspired by a kid that was experimented on. Lola was based on a child who had facial disfigurement. And had to smile all the time. And ended up lying in his own puke. And the doll was based on a child who fell into fire, which is recognizable why his color is red.
Here's some conspiracy theories that
believe
I
that?
think have passed the level of theory and are true. Women's clothing is designed with little to no pockets for the sole purpose of selling more purses. High-end art is just a scheme to launder money and avoid taxes. Like this one here, sold for $43 million. This one sold for $46 million. This one was $84 million. Someone actually paid $87 million for this. This has got to contribute to inflation in some way. Things that happen in the entertainment industry, like with movies, TV shows, video games, are done on purpose to gauge interest and get opinions before an official announcement. That little bit of dust that comes off the end of tissues when you pull them out of the box is specifically designed to get you to sneeze, that way you need more tissues. Government orchestrates their own conspiracy theories to get us distracted from actual problems.
Hey man, she was hitting that head on the nail, bro. Especially like I said, how some of those theories, they can be true. I'm about to say, you guys think, especially the last one, when she said how sometimes the government they be trying to put theories out there, trying to distract us from the bigger truth. That's why I tapped in with this, or tuned into this type of content, man, so I can learn, so I can expand my mind. I didn't want to be distracted no more. Where's this guy?
Some trees can actually grow inside of your lungs. In Russia, doctors performed surgery on a man named Artyom Sidorkin, suspecting that he had a cancerous tumor in his lungs. Instead of a tumor, though, they found a 5-centimeter fir tree branch inside of his lung.
What?
Doctors believe that Sidorkin accidentally swallowed a fir tree bud, which later grew into a branch. The probability of dying on your birthday is higher than any other day. There is actually a 14% chance of dying on your birthday than any other day. This is a shocking phenomenon called the birthday effect, which may be due to extra stress, drinking more, or people engaging in risky behaviors on their birthdays. A devil's chair exists in many cemeteries. In various cemeteries around the world, there are stone chairs called devil's chairs. These chairs were often used by mourners to sit and grieve, but legends and superstitions have given them a sinister reputation. Some stories claim that if you sit in one at midnight, the devil himself will appear. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York City than you are to be bitten by a shark. There could be someone secretly living in your wall or attic without you even knowing it. It's called frogging, and people say that it's becoming more and more common. So if you hear strange noises, notice things missing or moved, or your box of Frosted Flakes cereal is all of a sudden empty, there could be a frogger living in your home.
Here's what some of the most...
I didn't even know that was an actual term, but froggers, that's actually one of my worst fears ever, man. That's like imagine somebody in your own space and you have no idea. Gotta pay attention, man. And that fir tree going inside that person, I would have said that's impossible, man, but we just saw it. What do you know?
Most famous monsters actually are the chupacabra. The goat-griefing livestock leech believed to be first seen in Puerto Rico was more than likely a dog with a severe case of mange, and that's when mites burrow into the skin and basically cause parasitic alopecia. Bigfoot, different animals, same beast, or whatever it was Kobe said. Anyway, it was probably a mangy bear. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. What the hell mange does? Coke bear done graduated to meth?
Ooh.
I don't mean numbers. The Loch Ness Monster. There have been many theories, but what's most likely was probably just an escaped circus elephant with trunks out like Dragon Ball. For centuries, there have been stories of killer cyclops, a one-eyed op to humanity. Whole time, someone probably just found an expired elephant skull in an Olympic long jump to a conclusion. And last, almost every sea monster story you've ever heard was probably just some whale freeing his willy. That's exactly what you think it is, the more you know.
Here's how Area 51 became the center for alien conspiracy theories. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar claimed that he had worked at a facility near Area 51 known as S4. According to Lazar, the facility was being used to reverse engineer alien technology recovered from crashed UFOs. Lazar's claims were highly controversial, and many people dismissed him as a hoaxer. However, his story only served to fuel the already existing rumors of alien activity at Area 51. Since then, countless conspiracy theories have emerged about what's really going on at Area 51. Some people believe that the government is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life, while others think that the base is being used to develop top-secret weapons and technology.
What do you guys think?
That's what Mordecai said. Take that back, Rigby. They started fighting, and it didn't take long for them to bump into a microwave which took them up into space. And while in space, the argument still continued. You're over here turning on me, Mordecai, but I'm your bro. I'm just looking out for you. That's what Mordecai said. I don't care. I've been trying to get with Margaret for years, and yet every time she turns me down. And next thing you know, Mordecai pushes Rigby off, killing Rigby. That's when Mordecai says, wait, no! But the damage was already done, and Rigby's funeral went down the following week. After that day, Mordecai got so depressed, and ended up killing himself later that day by jumping off a cliff. Mordecai killed his best friend, and he disintegrated into the abyss, all because he was a simp.
He couldn't take that L, bro. It drove him insane. What the hell? I can't believe that freaking aired. That was on like Cartoon Network too. I'm gonna have to check. We're gonna have to review that episode, man. See if it's legit.
Who eat humans. Komodo dragon. Piranhas. Crocodiles. Jaguars. African dry rat.
African driver ants eat humans?
Bear. Lion. Catfish.
Catfish eat humans now? What the hell?
Tiger. Cheetah. Hyenas. Shark. Dog.
Dogs too? What the hell?
Polar bear.
This is part 2 of the crime scene
That
photos
shocked
that were
me.
leaked from the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, revolving around the murder of her mom, Dee Dee. This is another photo that was taken inside the house. You can see that the kitchen is absolutely trashed. This is inside their living room. Again, literally trash everywhere. This next one, please, if you're squeamish, look away. Okay, I cropped the photo, but basically her mom was found in this pink bed sheet. I'm covering a lot of, She was found laying on her stomach with stab wounds all over her body and a huge gash mark on her neck. Again, those photos are literally online where you see everything. I cropped this one again, but this is the crime scene bed. This half, it was just all blood in a wrapped body. I know a lot of you are really curious and you want to see these photos, but they are very dark and gruesome. Even photos of Dee Dee nude from the waist down. It was a very dark and gruesome murder.
Cursed games you should never play. Part 24.
Dark case.
Blue baby, baby blue. Begin at night. Go into a bathroom and turn off all the lights. Then lock the door behind you and face the mirror. As you're looking into the mirror, position your arms as though you're cradling a baby. While doing this, chant the phrase blue baby, baby blue 13 times. As you do this, you'll feel the weight in your arms begin to grow. And at some point, you'll start to feel scratching on your arms. Once you feel the scratching, immediately drop the baby in the toilet, flush it, unlock the door, and leave. If you're alive, you won. But there are 2 possible losing conditions. The lesser of 2 being the scratching in your arms becoming unbearable, or the second one being a woman appearing in the mirror. She will demand her baby back and probably kill you.
I never play those type of
These are
games.
scary cartoon
Never.
truths that would terrify you. Part 12. Okay, so Talking Angela started as a mobile phone app for a lot of children. Angela is a white cat with blue eyes who has conversations with you and could answer any question you ask. But recently, Talking Angela turned into an app to spy on young children. It is said the app was taken over by a creepy man or a very creepy group. It's said that if you're over 18, nothing happens. But if you're younger than that, the cat will then start asking you very weird questions. Like,
What?
where do you live? What is your name? And what are your parents' names? The creepy man or group are able to take pictures of you through your own phone. Also, if you zoom in on Angela's eye, you can see a man watching you. And if that's not scary enough, a young boy named Eli went missing shortly after downloading the app, and he was never found.
Hey man, that's how you gotta you have to know what type of apps you download, man. Especially when it comes to these kids' apps, because they just use as a cover for something else, man. Like a simple kids app, bro. You think talking to a cat, you wouldn't think nothing of it. It's like it's the perfect cover, seekers. We learning out here. Got it. Call it like I see it.
Every time I go to chase it, it runs. I don't think it's a good idea I chase it anymore. You might think I'm playing with him. Every time. Alright, I see him, but I'm not gonna act like I see him. I see him right there ducking. Oh, what the hell is wrong with his head?
I see that too.
Why does he look like that? I wanna try to zoom. Oh my god, why does he look like that?
All of the Rugrats are
Oh.
a part of Angelica's imagination. They aren't real. None of them. Chucky died in the same accident that his mom died. And that's why his dad is always so nervous and freaking out, because he has to deal with it. What about Tommy? Well, Tommy was a stillborn.
And that's why Stu goes down into the basement late at night, making toys for the son he wish he had.
That's why
he's always depressed.
What are you doing?
Making chocolate pudding.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
Because I've lost control of my life.
And the twins ended up being a miscarriage. It was early in the pregnancy, so Angelica didn't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl, so she just imagined both.
What about Susie?
Susie is real and going along with all of Angelica's crazy imaginations because it's her only friend. She tries to make her happy at times. But the one baby that is real is Dill. Dill goes against Angelica's crazy imagination and doesn't do what she expects. And that's why Angelica freaks out on Dill all the time and gets so upset.
Rugrats, man, they weren't real the whole time? Show that there to a couple of people, their minds gonna be blown. What the hell? What the hell?
The reason I had to move out of my flat.
Okay.
I was home alone.
What the hell is that? It's staring at her, and the dogs can see it too. It's like the dog can sense it. If you know that ain't your mom, to open it up. How the hell they unlock the door?
Then what's your name then?
Yeah, what the hell? She was right now opening up that door. That was a creepy one. For sure.
This teenager became concerned for her ex and tried to help him. Little did she know she was about to be brutally killed. Lauren Astley was 18 years old from Wayland, Massachusetts. She began dating Nathaniel Fujita when the pair were in high school together. Nathaniel was a popular football player. The pair were described as being quite on and off. On the 1st of April 2011, she decided to end the relationship with Nathaniel. However, it did not go down very well at all, and his friends reported that he became depressed and withdrawn. He stopped doing things he used to enjoy doing, and he just didn't seem to care about life anymore. In summer 2011, the pair attended the same graduation party. It was reported that at the party, Nathaniel got quite jealous of when Lauren was talking to other boys. Nathaniel got quite drunk, and Lauren's mum was actually at the party, and Lauren ran up to her crying. She said that Nathaniel wouldn't leave her alone and was harassing her. Now, Nathaniel got so angry at this party that he punched the tent that everybody was in and caused it to collapse.
Damn.
He was then asked to leave the party. It was reported that Nathaniel started drinking quite heavily and becoming even more depressed. His mum actually got so worried about him that she reached out to Lauren. She asked Lauren if she could help and maybe speak to him, and Lauren agreed because she was concerned. Lauren agreed to chat to him and meet him at his house on the 3rd of July 2011. Tragically, she had no idea she would not leave the house alive. She texted him stating "here" and entered the house at approximately 7:05 p.m. Nathaniel lured her into the garage, slit her throat and strangled her with a bungee cord. He then drove her car to Town Beach and disposed of the keys down a drain. After running home, he put her body in his car and dumped her in a secluded area nearby. Obviously, Lauren's family got really concerned when she didn't get home. Nathaniel, as obviously the last person she was meeting up with, was reported as a suspect. Police found bloodstains in his garage and a big bag full of clothes soaked in blood. Lauren's body was found not long after. Nathaniel's defense in court stated that he was suffering a massive depressive episode and therefore should not be held criminally responsible.
Really?
However, luckily he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. People are
She
calling
was
this
just trying to
case
help.
the Incest House of Horrors. This case comes with just about the biggest trigger warning for the most horrific things you could hear. It was October 2023 in the quiet Polish village called Koniki. An arrest was about to happen which would shake the small community. The true horrors of what had been going on under everyone's noses were absolutely chilling. Peter Girasik was 54 years old. He and his wife Hannah had had a staggering 12 children together. Hannah had passed away 15 years prior, leaving Peter to look after the children on his own. Now, the house that he lived in was far from ideal for such a huge family. Locals were also often concerned about hearing cries and screaming from inside the home. They knew Peter had a close relationship with his 20-year-old daughter, Paulina, but they had no idea just how disturbing things were getting inside the home. That was until local workers at a cake shop nearby tipped off social services. They had serious concerns about what was going on in the property, and they were right to be worried. When officers arrived at the home, they could smell something absolutely potent. Upon closer inspection of the property, they found decomposing, dead babies in the basement. 2 of the tiny bodies were wrapped in plastic bags, and one was just lying on the floor. Now, at the time of the discovery, Peter wasn't actually living in this house with all 12 of his children. Some had escaped. He was living in the house with his daughter Paulina and his disabled son Damien. It would later be revealed that sometimes Damien was seen sat outside the house crying. He told officers that his dad would have S with his sister, so the dad's daughter, and regularly chase Damien out the house and beat him when he wanted to do this. Damien was abused and was given little more than cold rice to live off. Horrifically, police discovered that the deceased babies in the basement were actually the product of incest. The 3 babies found in the cellar were believed to have been killed just after they were born. Frustratingly, Peter had actually been on the radar of police. He'd been investigated 5 times over allegations of incest. He was arrested finally by police, and his daughter Paulina was also arrested. Thankfully, many of Peter's children had managed to flee, and his one daughter Cassia referred to him as a monster.
You pescatarianly believe it? This one's kind of funny. Conspiracy theorists believe that Finland doesn't exist. And apparently, Russia and Japan made up the country Finland in 1918. Okay. The notion goes that the 2 nations created Finland so Japan could fish the sea that truly exists there without any environmental complications or repercussions. Then, the fish are caught and shipped via Trans-Siberian railways from Eastern European coastlines to Japan under the disguise of Nokia products. What the fuck? Surely it's got to exist. Yeah, sure. And people are saying you either live in Sweden or Russia. There's no in between. It's just sea.
Finland doesn't exist, man. That wasn't a rabbit hole I was expecting to go down in this video. That sounds interesting, man. So I'm gonna have to check that out. We faking out countries out here, bro.
Tucked away in the woods, over 500 human-like statues, some fitted with human teeth. This is one of Finland's most eerie attractions.
Dang. Some
Did you know that
human-like
this
statues.
university student from Finland killed 6 people and injured over 160 others? If not, then you might want to hear this. On October 11, 2002, at the local Mirmamien shopping mall in the town of Vantaa, Finland, over 2,000 people were present in the mall, including children. Everything was normal and nothing out of the ordinary until suddenly, a huge explosion was set off in the mall, killing 7 people, as well as injuring over 160 others, 10 of which included children. Police immediately jumped onto the scene, wondering what set off this huge and tragic explosion. So they conducted an investigation by checking the mall's security footage. And who they saw in the footage was a 19-year-old university student named Petri Erkki Tapio-Jurd carrying an explosive device into the mall that contained ammonium nitrate and nitromethane with shotgun pellets weighing about 2 to 3 kilograms. It was later revealed through multiple interviews that Petri was a chemical engineering student who enjoyed making bombs as a hobby and brought one into the mall hoping to set one off with a timer. However, when passing through the mall, the bomb was set off accidentally, ultimately killing 7 people, including himself. And since Petri also died in the explosion, no one will ever know his true motives.
Sad. True.
Finland's most famous unsolved homicide is a terrifying story because in the summer of 1960, 4 teens went camping by Lake Bodom when at around 3 or 4 in the morning, they were attacked. The perpetrator blindly stabbed through the 10 in a frenzied display before using a blunt object, likely a rock, to finish them all off. 3 of the teens were killed, while Niels Gustafsson was the lucky sole survivor, though he was badly injured and didn't remember what had happened. The police investigation was shoddy from the start. Some believe it was a satanic ritual killing. Several persons of interest were looked into over the years, including Niels himself, who was put on trial and sentenced to life in 2005, only to be freed a year later after a successful appeal.
So they couldn't find who did it, and they just took him. Just say, oh, you fit the bill, so you just gonna have to go. I don't know how many cases in history that happened, man. What is that? That's eerie.
Have you heard
There
of
he
this
goes.
sauna competition in Finland? You sit in a hot sauna as the temperature is slowly increased, and you wait and see how long you can withstand this heat. Swimwear is the only clothing permitted, and you're only allowed to wipe the boiling sweat off of your face, but not your body. Most people believed that this competition was pretty dangerous, but it wasn't until 2010 that that belief was proven to be true. When this poor man had to be carried out of the sauna, where he collapsed and passed away. And while the other competitor may have survived the competition, he still had to spend several weeks in the hospital recovering from his burns. And I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I read that the second guy's skin was like bubbling off. But that makes sense because you're kind of in this like crock pot just cooking. If dehydration or heat stroke doesn't get you first, then that probably will. Just watch this video, but be forewarned. Thankfully, since then, the competition has been closed down, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone was still doing it somewhere.
What is the scariest thing you can think of
Stupid,
happening
man.
while camping? This story comes straight from the heart of Appalachia. And if you love scary camping stories, this week's episode is probably the scariest camping story I've ever heard. So the story goes that in the Great Smoky Mountains, a scout leader was taking a bunch of Boy Scouts up into the mountains for the weekend. And they were deep in the mountains. The nearest road was supposedly 6 miles away. So that night, all of the campers go to sleep except for the scoutmaster. He wanted to stay up and read, but also he was getting this weird feeling that something was watching them. So he's laying awake in his hammock when all of a sudden he hears rustling. It's like too small to be a bear, but way bigger than a squirrel. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this man just walks out of the woods. It's the dead of night and he has no gear and no flashlight. And he just sits at the edge of their camp watching the tents. The scoutmaster's laying in his hammock trying to not move a muscle, and he ends up laying there for 3 hours. And all the while, he's thinking about how he was just reading about feral people living in the Smoky Mountains. Eventually, the guy gets up, stares at the camp for a few more minutes, and turns around and leaves. The scoutmaster makes everyone leave that next day, but he keeps getting the feeling that someone's watching him the whole rest of the weekend. I have a bunch of episodes that have different scary camping stories, so check them out.
They're humans. They're lucky nothing happened, man.
Despite this case receiving a heavy media attention, it has been years and we're still not close to finding out who did it. June 5th, 1960 was a normal summer day in Finland. 4 Finnish teens, 2 15-year-old girlfriends and their 18-year-old boyfriends decided to take a trip to Lake Bodom. Because my pronunciation would absolutely butcher their names, I'm going to leave them on screen in case you want to look anything up about them. Between 4 and 6 a.m., while the teens were sleeping in a singular tent together, they were attacked. These Pictures of the tent from the crime scene show it just being absolutely torn apart. They were stabbed and cut through the actual canvas of the tent. The attacker not only attacked them with a knife, but also some sort of blunt object. The teens' wallets and their shoes were found a little bit away from the actual crime scene. Of the 4 teens, only one survived their attack. How creepy would it be to be camping, not knowing that nearby somebody is lurking, waiting to kill you? Soon after police launched an investigation, they found out from some boys who were birdwatching around 6 a.m. on the morning of the murder that a blonde man was seen leaving the area. Eventually this sketch was made of the suspect, but police didn't really take this sketch that seriously. However, it did look quite similar to a man named Hans Assmann. Hans is originally from Germany and claims that he was a former SS officer and guard in Auschwitz. He also claims he was sent to the Eastern Front and was captured by Russian forces and became a KGB agent. There is no evidence to any of his claims. Additionally, Hans is the suspect in 2 other Finnish murders, including 2 other girls who were out camping and a teenage girl who was run over while on her bike. Additionally, he looks pretty similar to that weird sketch. Supposedly, sometime after the murders, he arrived at a Finnish hospital covered in bloody stains and was aggressive and anxious, also lying about his name. But police didn't bring him in or question him, and nothing came of this lead. In 2005, the survivor, Niels, was arrested and charged as the actual perpetrator. Even though he had his own injuries like a broken jaw, police claimed that these injuries were actually from the other friends trying to fight him off. However, there was no evidence, he was acquitted and awarded a ton of money for the pain and suffering caused by these accusations.
As you should.
The third suspect is a man named Valdemar who knew the area really well. He operated a kiosk on the site and was known to have a short temper. He also filled a well on his property shortly after the time of the murders. But again, there is no evidence it was this guy either. And to this day, Finland's largest mystery is unsolved.
It seems like the pattern was lining up. With that other guy, man, the picture looked accurate. It looked like him as well. I don't know why they didn't just go after him. Everything seemed to be lining up.
Finnish mythology is a folklore of paganism. On his shoulder grew the aspen. On each temple grew the birch tree. On his mighty chin, the alder. From his beard grew the willow bushes. In Finland, those who have long since passed are said to have become one with Mother Earth. Plant life around them grows in their form, in their mirror image. Trees will start looking like skulls or faces, with moss for beards and knots for eyes. The dead that lie beneath have now become the foliage around you. In a beautiful and harmonic way, they become one with everything else. But it is said that when one rests for this long, you will be able to raise them from Tuonela, the land of the dead or the afterlife, also known as Manala. Shamans would summon the dead in any challenging situations, such as the fight against evil, plagued monsters, or dark witches. With this one song, the dead would arise. My nature from thy hole arise, my Haltia from under a fallen tree, my helper from beneath a stone, my guide from out the moss. Come, dread inspiring Kalma, come at a time of anguish dire, to give support, to safeguard me, to help me and strengthen me, for the work that must be done, for the hurt that must be known about. With that song, the dead would rise from the hands of Mother Earth, which is why,
like Mother Earth, she had her agents. She had agents out there.
Aita lives in the woods of Finland and in the Arctic tundra. A serpentine creature that sometimes slithers, sometimes walks on 2 legs. A reptilian, almost skeletal head. Antlers growing high out of its top. The scaled back is hunched, the tail long. Sometimes she is also described with dragon-like features, sometimes as a woman who suckles snakes and brings misfortune to anyone who meets her. As the granddaughter of Hisi, the master of the woods and spreader of disease, This female spirit is said to bring sickness and pestilence wherever she goes. The mere proximity to Aita brings disease to anyone unfortunate enough to cross her ways, and certain death to every creature that wishes her harm.
Okay. Stay out the forests of Finland, man. They got some scary folklore out there. Hey. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Comment down below if you guys learned anything new. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification bell so always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch me in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.
Perfect.